Good afternoon and welcome once again to another edition of On Point for today, Friday, the 12th day of January 2024. Indeed, this is the first edition for 2024, and I say welcome one and all. I want to just welcome all of the folks who are up there in St. James, so from St. James all the way down to Charlestown, from Charlestown all the way around the south back into St. James again. So I'm covering the whole island of Nevis. Welcome to On Point. My name is Alexis Jeffers, and of course, it is indeed my pleasure being here every Friday afternoon. And while I am shouting up folks or different regions, let me say hello to the folks down there in St. Kitts who are in tune, and also down in Statia, Sabre, French and Dutch St. Martin. I understand there was election yesterday in Dutch St. Martin, that is. And also we'll get some results from that as we go on, and I'm sure those of you who are paying attention can certainly go to social media sites and get all of the results. I don't normally follow politics in St. Martin, so I really wouldn't know, but hopefully if you are a follower, if you voted, hopefully your party would have won or your candidate was successful. And I say congratulations to you once you'd have had a peaceful election yesterday. I also want to shout up the folks down there in British and U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, the United States. Of course, we normally cover the entire United States from all the way up in the northeast, Maine and Vermont and New Hampshire and those states, right up in the northeast, all the way down to South Florida and across the central portion of the United States, Mississippi, going into Texas and into New Mexico, all the way over to California and up into the north. Northwest, yes. Washington State and lower down is Oregon. We should all know all 50 states, Hawaii and also Alaska. We have divisions and kittitions, I'm sure, in all of those states, whether it's one, two, or many. So I say welcome to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, whatever the situation is. Europe, Asia, all over. So I've covered the entire globe, I'm sure. But it is indeed my pleasure being here, like I said before. And since it's the first program, let me wish every one of you a healthy, productive, and prosperous new year. Indeed, I will say further and go further to say that I would pray and hope by the will of God that I will be here again next year this time to wish all of you a happy new year. It therefore means that all of us would have survived 2024, and that is my fervent hope and prayer. So that being said, let me just say that we have left 2023, and I certainly think that it will be real wisdom on the part of all of us to leave all of the negatives and all of the bad things that would have happened in the old year behind. But it will not be wise of us to leave the lessons behind. Whatever lessons were learned in 2023, hold on to those lessons and use them to shape your lives going into 2024. I will say to you that if you were a bully in 2023, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be one in 2024, because if you were a bully then and you were taught some lessons, you better learn those lessons and going into 2024, make some changes. If you don't want to make any changes, better if you had stayed in 2023. But we are being positive in saying that 2024 that is, will be a great year for us here on the island of Nevis, a year for us to make some differences in our lives, a year for us to build on what we would have started in 2023, and a year for us to make a difference in the lives of every citizen here on the island of Nevis, and by extension, of course, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So as you turn over a new chapter, there's no need to continue rereading the old chapter, because it therefore means you're not moving ahead. Turn over a new leaf. Go to a new chapter in your life and start some production and productivity on the island of Nevis, so we can continue with the rebuilding or the building of the island of Nevis, so that we can all have a wonderful island called Nevis to call our home. As I came here, the environment outside is so nice. Nevis is really nice, you know. the sun is not out in all its glory today, but of course it is somewhat cool, yes, and I see some rain coming down around Nevis Peak. I hope it's rain and not so much what we have been getting, some Saharan dust or whatever. I think it's rain accumulating up there, and we're looking for some rain. Every time we get a little shower, it's always good. The plants will be happy, we'll be happy, and everything will be, just lush and nice as always here on the island. And while I'm at that, let me just start as we normally do. I've started already, but let me just backtrack a little bit, because we have always started in a way whereby we pay some respect to those families that are grieving at this time. Of course, over the last couple of weeks, and not so much the last couple of weeks, for some time now we've been losing loved ones. That is just the reality of life. As I've said before, you're born, you live, and ultimately you will die. All of us will die someday. No if or buts or maybe about that. But of course, it is always a difficult situation when we lose our loved ones. But last week, Thursday, we laid to rest, or we went and paid our last respects and sympathized with the family there of Mrs. Monica Webb. We went over there to the Church of God in Butlers, and it was a beautiful going home service. And I want to at least at this point again express my sympathies to the entire family. What's his name? Anthony Webb. We have a nickname for him. I'm not going to call it here on the radio. Ketwe and Kyla, all of them. I express sympathies at this point in time. Hopefully, you're still banding together and dealing with this situation, because I know it could not have been an easy situation to deal with before, during that service, and even now after the service and after the body has been laid to rest. But I know with God's help you will pull through this one. Of course, yesterday up there at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Manning Seventh-day Adventist Church, we would have paid our last respects there as well, and attended the homegoing service for Josephine Fiend Maynard. Fiend is her pet name or nickname, but every time we met her, we normally would say Fiend, how we use, so that is how we knew her. But Josephine was her correct name. We went and paid the last respects, and I want to extend sympathies once again to that family, the Maynard Brandy family there in Butlers and Brickhill as well. Indeed, some days ago, weeks ago, we learned of the passing of Dale Bago Parry, and I want to just express, now that I'm getting a chance publicly, to express my sympathies to the entire Bath community and also the family of Dale, or Bago as he was affectionately known, on his passing, untimely passing to some extent, because when the news came, I'm sure it would have certainly been a shock to many. I knew Bago well. At least he had a difficult job there at Nevlec. When I was the minister responsible for Nevlec or electricity, he was tasked with the responsibility of disconnecting persons who were delinquent with their electricity bills. And there are times when Bago would pick up the phone and call the, should I use the word culprit or the delinquent person, and tell them, listen, I have your name on this list, I'm coming, but if you can run in and pay something, then you would avoid being disconnected. Well, I never had a problem with that, because I believe Nevlec wanted the money more than the disconnection side of it. Indeed, that was his thing to do, and I believe many persons throughout the island of Nevis were the recipient of that call. No matter how much you have in terms of money, sometimes you forget, sometimes it's just one of those things. But Bago was the consummate customer service agent, so to speak. Even though he was tasked with this connection, he was a customer service agent, because it's all a part of the customer service and that extension of the service that you offer to customers, so to speak, to give them that heads up, and to also help them to avoid the connection fees, which is normally about $100, I think. So Bago, you would have made your, well, he's not hearing me at this point in time, but Bago would have made his impact, And you know, sometimes you look around the community and some of us believe we have to build a skyscraper, or we have to do this earth shaking or movement thing to create that impression. But it's the simple things, simple things that you are sometimes remembered for. And those simple things can touch one's emotion in such a way that they'll never forget you. And Bargo would have done some exemplary things. And I believe the service will be held on Monday, I believe, Monday the 15th of January. And I believe it's down there at the church down there by the old Rest Haven. What's it called again? It's a Church of God, I think. Prentice. Well, let me say Prentice Church. Everybody know there's one Prentice around here who have a church down there, down at the close to the Rest Haven, the old Rest Haven site. Rest Haven Hotel, that is. So it will be announced, I'm sure, further here on Von Radio. I believe I heard it before. So listen up, and you'll certainly hear it and come and pay your last respects on Monday. And of course, the entire Steel Pan community and everyone who was involved in music will certainly miss Bargo. So may his soul continue, well, to rest in peace. You know, while there's death, there is life, and there's persons dying, persons are being born, and of course you'll have funerals, but you'll also have birthday parties, you'll have a good time, you'll have bad times. All that is mixed up in this thing called life. And indeed, while I'm speaking about persons who would have passed, I'm now going to speak about persons who are celebrating. And the first person come to mind is a friend of mine, the Alfred Didder from Newcastle. Well, Alfred migrated to New York. He lives in New York. But guess what? Alfred decided to come back home, come back to base to celebrate his 60th birthday. 3 scores. So he's here on island. And from what I understand is that he's going to have a celebration. And those who will be celebrating with him go and dance and party and enjoy yourself. But Alfred, I wish you all the best for this 60th birthday celebration. I wish you God's guidance and protection going into the next 20, the next score, and then perhaps another score after that. Whatever the Lord provides for you, go ahead and enjoy and make a difference as you always do. This is a time for celebration, of course. And indeed, my good friend over there in Butlers, Cheryl Sutton, is celebrating today. Cheryl, I won't say on the air how old you are, but you're looking nothing close to what your age is today. I want you to celebrate in grand style, because many persons have not reached this particular milestone that you have reached today. And I want you to enjoy every bit of today. And going forward, you know, it is not for you to celebrate just on the 12th of January, but you can celebrate all the way down to the end of this year, into next year, and all of the birthdays that are to come. I've always said that when it comes to birthdays, celebrate as if it's the last. And also spend as much as you can. If you want to spend all the money you have on yourself, that is good too. It therefore means that you have put so much into yourself, and that still won't be enough. So celebrate as you must, celebrate as you may, and celebrate as the Lord will provide for you to celebrate. Because these are days that we should all celebrate every single day that we are alive. So those are what I have. And let me say, anyone who is celebrating today who I don't have that information, celebrate. Those who are in the bereaved column, I say my deepest sympathies to all of the families out there that are grieving at this time, and the whole of Nevis join with you in all aspects of your life at this point in time, whether it's celebration or some bereavement. We are there with you. So yes, that takes care of that. Sorry. So I move on. You know, over the months of last year, from January down to December, I was keeping track of the movements over there at the Oale water taxi facility. And every month I come, at the end of each month, I come with the data, and it kept building and building and building and building. And I did say that the goal is to reach somewhere around 250,000 movements or persons coming through that facility. What I mean by that, coming through, or whether by way of embarking or disembarking, and we didn't quite reach the 250 mark, but I that was just to push and to say, well, let's use the facility because of the access and the convenience that it provides, but we were not able to get there, but we got very close. And I just want to give an update as to what the numbers were like for December and what the overall total was for 2023. So at the end of December 2023, there were 25,874 persons that moved through that facility. 25,000. I have the breakdown of how many came in, that is the disembarkment, and those who embarked. So those who came in from Reggae Beach to or wherever, from perhaps Park Hyatt, perhaps down in what do you call it now, the marina down there, Christopher Harbour, or even down in Bass there, 13,210 persons would have disembarked, and 12,664 persons would have embarked or left that facility, for a grand total of 25,874 persons. Now you add that to the running total we had up to the end of November. We had a total of 218,646 persons would have used the facility up to the end of November. And of course, you add the December total, you have a grand total for 2023 of 244,520 persons who would have used the facilities over there at the Uwale Water Taxi facility, that is. So I am pleased that we got close, but I was just, my expectations were a bit blunted to some extent, but that's okay. 244,000 persons plus is a phenomenal figure. And you know, the interesting thing, those numbers can only grow. They can only get larger and larger and bigger as the years go by. Case in point, in 2022, there were 23,276 persons who used the facility in December of 2022, that is. And of course, this year we went up to 25,874. I said this year, but I'm talking about 2023. So 2022 and 2023. So there was a difference, 2023 over 2022, of 2,598 persons. So that was some growth. So if we were to use that as a means of, you know, trying to figure out what might happen in 2024, and we have increases over the 12 months, meaning every month, then of course we can certainly see a larger total at the end of 2024, all being well. So that is how I would want to look at that. We fell short by 5,480 persons, yeah, for 2023, when I set 250,000 as my benchmark. But we're still happy that the facility continued to provide the amenities and the services that it was meant to provide. So I want to thank the general manager, Mr. Oral Brandy. I want to thank the entire staff over there at the Uwale Water Taxi facility, because those are the persons that you interact with every time you go there. I just want to impress upon them to continue to offer these services at the highest level, because we have a varied type of clientele that goes through that area. You have visitors, you have residents, you have citizens, you have all sorts of persons who go through there, and indeed persons who are coming off of the cruise ships in St. Kitts are now using that facility. So it is important, and it is incumbent upon us to offer the best services over there, so that they can leave or come and meet friendly faces, friendly smiles, and good people, so that when they leave or they disembark, they can leave with that good spirit and that good impression of Nevis. That will be an encouragement for them to come back again. So we have to offer those services. And indeed, as I said before, that facility continued to provide for us what we envisage what it would provide in terms of generation of revenue, generation of employment, you know, and the revenue that is generated. There is an exponential nature to it, in that all the sectors, it keep growing. You spend $20 or $45 or $40 over there, that money continue to grow throughout the economy. So it's a big business over there. No matter who sees it differently or says otherwise, it is a big business. You have employment being created, social security contributions are being paid. Those who sell fuel and parts and so forth for those boats over there, they make money. Of course, NASPA has to pay everyone over there who works there. They go home to their family, they spend their money to buy groceries, they buy shoes, clothes, send the children to school, they save some of that money for a rainy day, they travel, they do everything, the same money that they make over there. So you understand the nature of the business over there. It's big business and big money being generated. Now what you'll hear is that the building is not completed as yet. Of course, that is true. But I'll tell you this much, based on the progress that is being made, we're anticipating in short order, by at least, I'm hoping by the end of February, we should have that facility open so that it can be used for the benefit of all. At this point in time, though, there is a smooth flow of traffic over there, that building or not, things are happening. But the building will be an added plus, so that when there are certain adverse weather conditions, persons can have somewhere to shelter, to, you know, sit and wait for boats and so forth. So that is being done. And I just love to talk about that, particular facility. It is one of those revenue generating projects that the CCM-led Nevis Island administration can be proud of. As I've said before, there was the intention, or there were intentions, to construct another facility elsewhere, somewhere at the bottom of Cotton Ground. And we decided that based on the model that was existing before with the Sky boat that is over there operating over in the Cades Bay area, we determined that we wanted all Nevisians, Tutmun, Saman, Bagay, as they say, if they want to get into the water taxi business, let them get in. And if they want to sell something out there, let them sell. It was not going to be a situation where it's exclusively the rights and ownership of any one person or one entity, but it belongs to the people of Nevis, and the people of Nevis are currently reaping the benefits of that decision. And I'm so happy that we went that route and not the other way. And I hear the talk about, oh, cost of this building not finished and all sorts of things. But you know, the interesting thing, the same people who complaining use it more than me. I go to St. Kitts most time when there's parliament in St. Kitts, for example, but I see some of them go every day and using the same facility. But that's okay too. Pay your $5 and go. Let the government collect their $5 or NASPA collect their $5. Not a problem at all. Go ahead and use it. That's what it's there for. But don't use it and start complaining. We said we're working on the building and we're going to get it completed. I will say to you, and I repeat again, that based on the finance that we had initially, which was $6 million, $3.2 million went into purchasing the property. Another $1.6 million EC dollars, I'm talking about, went into the construction of the pier, and then an additional, I believe, $600,000+ is going into the building and all of the fencing or whatever. We are somewhere in the region of just about $6.2 million or $6.3 million in terms of expenditure. And I think if we got $6 million from the SIDF and we're able to bring in a project like that, and it is reaping the benefit as it is, then one cannot complain, one cannot say that that is not prudent on the part of the government. Excellent job that was done. I'll say further though, the project is not complete. The next phase now is to build 3 units on that property that can be rented to persons who want to ply a trade there in terms of selling coffee, selling drinks, or selling ice cream, the likes. That will be another couple $1,000s, I believe, somewhere around $800,000 or less to get that completed. And then the site will be complete and playing the major role that it should play there in the Jones Estate, Cades Bay area. Not Cades Bay, Mosquito Bay area. So, that being said, I want persons to continue to look around for businesses that can benefit from that facility in terms of how can you leverage those benefits to your own advantage. They're there. You just have to sit and think and work out what is going on and figure out how can I capitalize on these 244,000 people that are moving back and forth and more. in the years to come? How can I capitalize on that? I want to close out on that and say that perhaps NASPA, this is an idea. Since people are loving your facility, you must run some little spiffs over there. I say spiff, I don't know if that's the right word, but that's okay. When you get to the 10,000th person or passenger, run something and give them something, a free boat ride or something. The 20,000th, the 30,000, 50,000 person. You know, I'm just giving some ideas where you can give a couple of boat rides back and forth. You work with the operators. That would encourage persons to use it more. It would be to your advantage. I know sometimes people run raffles and you know, whatever else around here, and they put in these prizes. Well, I am just saying that NASPA can say that once they get to 50,000, for example, you win something. Yeah? There must be some way of tracking that data, because if supermarkets can do that, I know in the States, I've seen it before. You go into a supermarket, you purchase your stuff, you walk out through the door, and bingo, here you go. 50,000 persons or 1 million customer, and you get free shopping. It's just an idea to encourage persons to come, and that's just something that came to mind. You know, sometimes when you use your brain, you know, you can come up with so much creative things, and instead of going with the ad hoc or the norm, you can go outside the norm, think outside the box, and come up with ideas so that you can enhance your business, or in this case, I'm talking about the Wally Water Taxi facility, but that's okay. That's an idea. You can take it and enhance it however you want, but it is possible. Yes, so it's almost a half an hour into the show, and I'm still here talking about some of the excitement, but that's what we're here for. Let's move on. What happened last year? Last year was a very good year here on the island of Nevis, no matter what is being said. And I'm not here to counter what is being said out there, because you see, when people have a resume of failures, they'll always talk about failure. The only thing they'll see is negativity. Once you have that type of resume, and that's all we're hearing coming from those out there who are controlling the airwaves, I want to admonish the people of Nevis. Listen, you have a brain in your head. You see what is going on. You understand the difficulties that are being faced throughout the globe, not just Nevis. And no matter what is being said, we cannot remove Nevis from the global community. Whatever happened in the Red Sea will affect what happened here on the island of Nevis. Whatever happened to the south of Africa will affect the people of Nevis as well. Whatever happened in Asia will affect the people of Nevis. I don't know if we all realize that we're almost close to a third world war now, with every nation throughout the world. Every single nation out there have problems. Wars can't done. Bombing in Ukraine, bombing in wherever else, bombing in, I know you hear about Iran and Iraq and the United States and whomever else. You have Israel, problems in Israel with Hamas, and all kind of things are happening around the globe. I am telling you, every single time these conflicts arise, it affects us in many ways. One, it affects us with the cost of fuel. You had a dip, and then as soon as the first bomb drops, the price of fuel shoots back up. It also happens with shipping as well too. I spoke about the Red Sea. Whatever is happening there, there's blockage and all kind of bombing and what you call it now, all sorts of what you call it, pirates and all kind of, and you know, persons out there creating all kind of difficulties for that shipping lane, so to speak. So you have boats that are leaving Asia or wherever, heading to the United States or wherever they're going. They now have to go all the way around to the south of Africa, and adding costs, adding time, and adding difficulties. So logistics throughout the world are being hampered. So we're here in Nevis, and those in the opposition, they're the only ones who don't know what is going on outside of Nevis. They're the only ones who don't know what's going on around the world, because all they talk about is all the negativity. I want to bring a different perspective to the people of Nevis. I say to you, if there's work at Nevis available, whatever it is, go and work. And you know what? Save some of that money. Save some of that money, because things are not getting easier as you go through life. Many of us who are young enough, those of us in our 50s can recall back in the days when we were 10 years old, 15 years old, things were good. We didn't have much to do. You go on, you play cricket, play football. Sometimes you have to go, as we say, quote unquote, to the pasture to tie out a couple of sheep and goat. Or you have to look after cattle. These days, that's not the case. We have moved away from that, and now tourism is one of the biggest driver of the economy, and everybody is making an extra dollar at a restaurant, at a hotel, or somewhere, driving taxi. So time is being spent hustling, making money. And if you're making money, all I'm telling you to do is to put something aside for a rainy day, because the rainy day is going to come. And those you hear talking with all of the degrees and all of the doctorate and all of the this and all of the that, they ain't even employ one person on the island of Nevis. Watch them good. Examine them. Not even one person. I didn't want to go back there, but I have to go, because the bottom line is, some of us are, not some of us, some of you are persuaded by some of them. And that is why I say, if a person present a resume of failures to you, I don't know why you'd want to listen to that person. But if someone like the Premier of Nevis, who have been fighting for the best, for the people of Nevis, for the best interest of our people, he's someone who you'd want to listen to. Because during the tumultuous times of COVID-19, I remember every Sunday afternoon, the Premier was here, giving you reassurance, giving you information, encouraging you, and making sure that every single civil servant would have gotten their paycheck at the end of the month. Nothing was withheld from anyone. And that is astute management, astute leadership. And he also would have gone even further and refused to take a paycheck at the NIA level for, I believe it was about 2 years. That was leadership, leading from the front. When those out there who are making noise every day, all they want is a paycheck. It seems like they want to get into government just to get a paycheck, because they haven't proven that they can manage anything. They haven't proven that they can employ one soul. They haven't proven that they have any acumen in business to keep a business afloat so as to employ persons. And when it's all said and done, you measure persons. You measure them. You compare. And when you look at the comparison, you got to tell yourself that, the Honourable Mark Brantley and his team have done an excellent job throughout 2023 and even before that, to ensure that Nevis continue to prosper. But what happened last year, like I said, persons got their 5% increase. That was 10%, because remember, 15% increase was guaranteed to the people, civil servants, that is, of Nevis, the largest increase in salaries here on the island of Nevis ever. So you had 5, 2022, 5 in 2023, and of course, this year, January, you'll get the additional 5%. 15%, the largest increase ever given to the people of Nevis. That must be something that you must commend the Premier and his government for doing. Not only that, you see this non-established workers compensation package that was offered, it was passed in 2022 and implemented last year. I don't care what anyone say out there. No one can come and tell me otherwise. That was one of the best initiative that this government would have offered to those non-established workers who had nothing before. Nothing. You go home at the end of your tenure and you get a lump sum. And after that, you wait until you get to 62 or whatever. And then you get your Social Security pension package. But you get your Social Security pension package now, along with what the government is offering you as a non-established worker. That is taking care of people, and that is ensuring that persons, the least among us, are taken care of. And that was one of those things last year that I believe that all non-established workers should be proud of. Some may say that they haven't gotten this or haven't gotten that. Listen, it's better than what was there before. And it certainly should be enough to tell you that the Concerned Citizens Movement would have looked after you. Would have looked after you in that they made sure that you have gone home with some dignity. And don't let anybody fool you. Those out there who never even thought about it, because they were in government before. They talk as if they never were in government before, but they were in government before, never thought of it. But this was an initiative that I have to give commendation to the government for. Of course, roads were built last year and all other things, many things, but I wanted to look at the human resource side of it, because we always tend to forget what we're doing sometimes to impact the lives and the livelihood of our people, and spend more time on infrastructure in terms of what is happening around us. But sometimes the most important piece of the equation are our human resource factor that we have to take care of, because you take care of people, and of course people are happier, people are more confident, people are more in tune with what is going on in terms of ensuring that they are playing their part to develop this island. And indeed, once their spirits are high and the morale is high, then of course they would do exactly that. Okay, well, move on for a little bit. I'm moving quickly because time normally goes by fast on this show. Of course, the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park continued to be an excellent investment in this island and in our people. And indeed, the additional work that is being done down there by the Sunshine and all of those bars down there, where parking is being completed, toilet facilities being put in, lighting will be erected, and it will be a complete transformation of those 14 acres stretching from the island main road. That is on the left side of the road going down to the beach. Just to be specific, on the left side of the road going down to the beach, all of that stretch of land have been developed for the benefit of the people of Nevis, and also visitors and all who intend to enjoy that area. But more specifically down there at the bottom of those lands close to the ocean, where all of those restaurants are. I want to say something, because sometimes, this go unnoticed. In 2013, when we came into government, none of those proprietors down there, none of those who had a beach bar down there had any land tenure in terms of having any papers to those lands down there. All of them were squatting. Every single one of them was squatting down there on those lands. But this is how you empower your people. Because when persons have a piece of paper in their hands and they say, I have entitlement to be here, that is the biggest incentive you can give to any person, whether national or even non-national can own lands here on Nevis. But listen, you go down there, and even if you see a foreign entity operating down there, the land space, by and large, is in the hands or in the hands of nationals or Nevisians. Sunshine have his papers, Randy have his papers, Chevy have his papers. Who else down there? All of them down there have their papers. Big John and his place, weekends, they have their papers. Because we made it our business to say, listen, no one should come here to bully you. No one should come to bulldoze you. No one should come to push you out. And we made sure that we subdivided those lands and placed a lease in those people's hands so that they can have some comfort in operating their business. And that is what has transpired down there. And every time you go down and you see all of these buildings down there, nice environment, that is what we wanted to create down there. And not we have persons coming down and everybody putting down a stake willy-nilly and create confusion. As a matter of fact, the Republic of China, Taiwan, may not have even gotten involved if there was confusion down there, because they like peace and order. That is the type of people they are, just like we are. And we want to thank the Republic of China, Taiwan, and the local ambassador and his office for, acceding to the request of the Premier to assist. And they have assisted. And it is turning out to be a marvelous investment. And it is one that even when, officials from Taiwan come here, the Republic of China, Taiwan come here, and they visit the park, they marvel. Beautiful investment, and we've always asked them for assistance in that regard, to assist us to put down something that our people can be proud of. They've really provided assistance in many areas, but that same Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park is one that is symbolic of their effort, and the NIA as well, and we are thankful to them for their effort. Yeah, so go down and enjoy the diverse dining experience down there. A lot of different type of food is available down there. When you go, just be on your best behavior. Okay, So that takes care of that. Of course, well, this year we'll be pushing and forging ahead with the upgrade and expansion of the Van Summer International Airport. We have been talking about that, and some may say, and we have said it too, that since 2015 we have been engaging. And of course, between 2020 and 2022, there was hardly much done because of the difficulties that we had with COVID-19. But of course, we are back on track, and we had our first town hall meeting down there at the St. Paul's Anglican Church Hall. That there were some difficulties there, and I say that publicly, and I apologize publicly as well. But we're getting ourselves organized once again to have additional town hall meetings, and indeed the team is getting themselves ready. That is the Perez consulting team that we have engaged, and of course we'll alert the public as to what will happen and where we'll be next time around. But indeed, what is envisaged over there at the Van Summer International Airport, as we have said before, the airside will be improved in terms of the runway, taxiway, and also the safety strip, meaning the runway and all along the side of the runway will be improved, and we're hoping to achieve at least 5,500 feet of runway. New lighting will be placed in, improvement in the communication and navigational systems, and indeed even the drainage will be addressed, because those who are familiar with the Newcastle area, because of the topography of the land here on Nevis, you have this downward slope, everything end up going towards the ocean. The airport is right next to the ocean, so of course all the water make their way all the way down. You have a gut up at the eastern end that we call Nisbet Gut. You have guts all along the road network. You can see them as you drive past the perimeter of the airport down here in Newcastle, coming back down towards Tire World and all those areas. You have plenty of water course, and indeed those will be addressed accordingly. We'll also have improvement in the passenger terminal facility over there, the terminal building. When that was built, it was certainly not built for what we are hoping to accomplish now in terms of larger aircraft like the Embraer 170 or the Embraer 175, where you'll have additional passengers. So we'll have an improvement or expansion in the departure area, the arrival area. We'll also have an additional space or expanded space for cargo as well, because we anticipate that will be a major part of the business over there. Indeed, the ground transportation, parking and so forth, those will be enhanced. The parking lot over there is certainly not adequate enough if you're going to have additional passengers and additional movement, so we'll have improvements there as well. And indeed, from the aviation side as well, we'll have both aviation gas, we call that avgas, and also jet fuel. We'll have storage of that, and that's where most of the money is made in terms of the sale of fuel. So all that will be involved in the expansion and upgrade of the Van Summer International Airport. Indeed, we're hoping to lower a flight school here to Nevis as well, whereby we'll have training being done of aspiring pilots, whether from here in Nevis or in the Federation, or even from around the Caribbean or further afield. But that facility, I'm sure we can accommodate and would want to accommodate, and would want that to be a part of any improvement that we do over the Van Summer International Airport. All this is in an effort to generate revenue for the facility and make the facility as relevant as it can be. Right now, we can all say that it is not doing anything close to what potentially can be done. Persons have been asking when they would be able to fly into Nevis. I'm talking about people with their business jets. I'm talking about airlines. I'm talking about even the Four Seasons Resort that move a lot of people from time to time. We're hoping to attract all of these persons over at the Van Summer International Airport. You hear me talk about the amount of movement down there at the water taxi facility? Well, when the facility was just up the beach there at what you call it, Oali Hotel, a few persons came through there. We decided the potential is there and the vision was there, and we tell ourselves, listen, we're gonna purchase that property, build that facility, and with that we have seen an explosion in the movement of people. And by the same token, persons may ask, how do you know? The results were there before. When American Eagle was coming, we had a huge movement of people in and out of Van Samer International Airport. There was a point in time, I believe there were about 4 private jets parked in front of that terminal over there. Well, I believe it was a G4 or G5, I don't remember. Maybe 1 or 2 of them and some citations or whatever. But we usually or normally would have had quite a number, up to about 6 aircraft parked over there. At least 4 to 6, if I can recall. Some may say that's a small number, but that's what the apron can hold. And that is why we're building larger parking space during the upgrade of that facility. And that is why we are putting in, facilities for fuel, because we know once they come here and they leave in here to go to the United States or Europe, once those jets are coming here to go to those destinations, they would need fuel. And we are going to put in that fuel farm with avgas for the smaller type of aircraft, those propeller type aircraft, and the jet fuel for the larger business jets. And Nevis, listen, people of Nevis is as good as many and as good as any and better than many. Nevis is one of the best places on earth. And if you all don't believe that, go to other countries or islands, make the comparison. When they're complaining about water out there, we have water. When they're complaining about, what else? They're complaining about roads, we have good roads. They're complaining about housing, we have good housing. They're complaining about hotels, we have a 5-star hotel here, one of the best in the Caribbean. You hear it's ranked among the best in many categories. They're talking about golf course, we have an excellent one here, 18 holes. One of the best in the region. You're talking about other amenities, whether it's horseback riding, whether it's sailing, whether it's diving, whether it's mountain climbing, whether it's hiking, whatever you talk about. Nevis have all those amenities. Better than many. We need to start selling Nevis, and stop calling down our island. Because while we are calling down our island, other persons out there are benefiting as a result of us fighting among ourselves, fighting and calling down our island. They have seen the urge there. They're fighting. They're calling down the island. Let's big up ours. And they're the ones who are going to benefit ultimately. But I'm saying from this microphone that Nevis is as good as any and better than many. And once you see that facility is upgraded up there, we'll see all of the superstars you all saw here during the last festive season. Many more are going to come, because Nevis was the mecca at a point in time. I know I met Michael J. Fox, Doc Rivers, Oprah Winfrey, what's his name, Clarence Thomas. I met all of them right down there at Four Seasons when I used to manage TDC Rentals. So I was down there when all those super mega stars used to come. Dan Marino, you could name them. They came. All of them. We need to lure all of them back to Nevis because they had a wonderful time when they came. So Nevis need to provide the facility for them to fly in and fly out. Because when someone owns a private jet, you think you can tell them park in Barbados and take a small little plane to come to Nevis? No. You think you could tell them park in St. Martin and then come to Nevis? No, they're going to stay in St. Martin one time. You think you could tell them park St. Kitts and take a boat come over? They probably might because they're in the Federation. But you tell them you can fly into Nevis, park in Nevis, drive past the airport, look at your beautiful aircraft, and that's what they'll be willing to do. They want to move from point A to point B. They cannot or don't want to move from point A to go to point C or point D to get to point B. Straight. And that's what we want to provide to our people. And if people in Nevis are not getting that into their cranium, well, it's up to them, because that is what we have to do to get the island to the next level of development. The potential is there, and it will be realized once we get that upgrade done, and that is what we have intentions to do. So that is the airport. We'll speak more about that as we go, because the airport is going to be on our tongues and in our minds for many years to come. Yeah, when it's done and even after, because it will be a wonderful project for the island of Nevis. Quickly on the poultry project. There are people who seem not to understand that this is a huge area to get into in terms of revenue and in terms of an income. I want to say to the people of Nevis who are contemplating getting into the poultry industry, all of the negatives that you're hearing, it's up to you if you want to listen. But I am saying to you, it is not anything that you get into, and it requires work in order to make money. It won't be easy. Let me put that again to you. Anything that you want to get into that requires work and you have to get in to make money, it won't be easy. But you hear that word work, you have to work. And if you work, you will make money. You can't make money sitting down. You can't make money listening to somebody who have failed. You can listen to them and make sure you don't make the mistakes they made. But I'll tell you this much, this industry, the poultry industry, is one that I'm encouraging many of you who have that aspiration. Do your homework. Ask questions. Go to the Department of Agriculture and ask questions. Get the information that is available to you. But I'll say to you today that if you intend to get into the business, there are incentives available to you from the government side of it. The government will be a major player in ensuring that you establish your poultry business and make money. The first thing I'll say to you is that there'll be duty-free concession on all of the feed that you'll import for a 5-year period. For the first year, your feed, wherever you want to import them from, because there are people in Nevis right now who have those layers that are producing eggs, import their own feed from the United States or wherever else. But wherever you'll find feed, the importation on those will be duty-free. There'll also be duty-free concession on the building materials that you'll procure to build your pen or your barns. That will be for a 5-year period. So those duty-free concessions will be available to you, and storage facility and the likes, whatever you intend to construct. There'll be duty-free concession on the appropriate type of vehicle, and I say the appropriate type of vehicle. You don't expect to come and bring a Toyota Corolla to carry 100 bags of feed. Sorry, or to bring feed from from Long Point, for example, depending on what you order. You may order a container full of feed. That's fine. That will be, pulled to your establishment. But if you have to buy feed somewhere from someone who is benefiting from this concession, or one of your partners, you'll need the appropriate vehicle. A pickup is fine. You'll get your concession for the first 5 years. And also all of the necessary taxes and corporate taxes, that is, those will be waived for 5 years. You'll get concession on electricity and water, because those are major inputs into your business. But the largest input, of course, will be the cost of feed, and you'll get your concession on that for 5 years. So you add all of these concessions up, it's obvious that the Nevis Island administration is putting as much as possible into your business for it to establish itself and to grow. But remember, I told you it requires some work. So be prepared to put in the work and put in these concessions, and then of course produce the necessary birds to be taken to the slaughter facility that will be constructed shortly there at Prospect. Yeah? And I have said to a few persons, listen, if you have a restaurant and you use a certain amount of meat product, meaning chicken, poultry products, then you can also establish your little farm too, and then you feed your own birds into your own business establishment. Even a supermarket here on the island can definitely get into it too. I'm just putting ideas out there. They don't necessarily have to, but they would eventually be buying your products as well. As a farmer, I'm just saying, anyone can get in, because we still won't have enough. If everybody were to get in, you still won't get enough, because based on the numbers that we have seen, the millions of pounds of chicken parts and products that are imported into Nevis, and the millions of dollars that are being paid through customs, importation and so forth, it tells you that a lot of persons will be needed to at least make a 10% dent, a 15% dent, a 20% dent into the importation, or even more, of importation of chicken into the island of Nevis. But then of course you have the St. Kitts market. We don't know how many persons will get in, but of course that's a larger market. So indeed, if we were to ever get to the point where we can sustain the island of Nevis, then of course you have St. Kitts next door, whereby we can send chicken over to St. Kitts, of course, as yes. But you have to start at home first to satisfy your home market. And that is why I say we have to get as many persons on board. There are incentives being offered, and persons should access these bits of information through the Department of Agriculture, so that when you're ready to engage and you're ready to get into the business, you will know what the incentives are and you can capitalize on them. So that is something that you need to continue that conversation with the persons up there at the Department of Agriculture, so that we can have this project unfolding, rolling out here on the island of Nevis for the betterment of the people of Nevis. I will say further that I bought one of those smoked chicken that is locally produced. Very tasty. Hit the palate nice, if I were to put it that way. Hit the palate real nice. And you know, the confidence of consuming that chicken was there, because I knew for a fact that that was locally produced chicken. So it really went down in a way into my stomach that told me that I was eating wholesome, healthy chicken grown right here on the island of Nevis. And that is the type of confidence we have to have in our consumers here on the island of Nevis. Your consumption must be healthy and wholesome, and that is what we intend to achieve with this particular project. I did touch on small businesses, and I want to just say quickly as I wrap up that small businesses, we hear about the challenges that are out there. Yes, I wanted to say to our small businesses, listen, it is never going to be an easy road. Everything that happens overseas, like I said, will come and affect even the smallest of person on the street, including small businesses. But I want to say to our small business operators and owners, first thing you have to start with is to ensure that you're offering your customers good customer service. It must be welcoming when I come to your place, or anyone come to your place. As a matter of fact, with WhatsApp and all of these social media platforms, use them to your advantage. Invite persons to your place. Send out a WhatsApp to them and tell them, listen, come this weekend, come tonight, come today. Come and give me a sale, because I'll be offering this or offering that. What are you offering? You can't be abusing people when they walk into your place and go on Facebook and abuse the same people and expect them to come. That is the first thing you have to address before we start talking about anything else. So you must be welcoming, you must be willing to invite people, offer them an inviting environment. And don't think people must come. No one must come to your business place, not one soul. Forget about the politics. If people inside of your place arguing politics, don't even join them. You don't have to join them. Politics is a part of our culture now, a huge part. And it will be spoken about everywhere you go. But you don't have to join. You don't have to partake in that argument or that discussion. If you ask a question, you can answer and move along your way. Let them handle that themselves. But when you start to put colors into this thing called business, you're heading on the road of destruction. Stop it. But you can certainly invite persons, no matter what they are, CCM, NRP, whomever. You can extend a hand of friendship, invite them to your place, and come and have a drink. Let's have a drink. Nothing is wrong with that. It turns out good in that on that occasion, they'll come back. But you cannot be out there crying a river of tears about business, small business, when you yourself are your own enemy and destroying your own business. I mean, that is just, a simple bit of advice for anyone. I remember when we started this business over the Caribbean pools, when people come to talk politics, I tell them I have to go 4 seasons, I have to go up in the hills, I have to go somewhere just to get away from it, because it should not be discussed on those premises, yeah? And that is how I operate. There's time and a place for every single thing under the sun or under the heavens. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I have expired my time. My time has expired, sorry. And I just want to part in saying, listen, as I always say from time to time, when people tell you who they are, take them at their words. But when they show you who they are, you better believe them. And that is what you need to accept for 2024. Going forward, this year is going to be a good year, but it's also a year where you have to be smart and be very selective about your decision making. So when they tell you who they are, take them at their words. But when they show you who they are, you better believe them and move right along. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been my time for today. That's my quota. I've gone over by a few seconds. But let me wrap up by saying thank you for listening today. Thank you for rejoining me for 2024. I want you to be my listening crowd or the group for 2024, and I'll try my best to be on my best behavior, that is. Thank you once again. I want to thank all of the folks here at Von Radio for being good to me in 2023. I solicit your support once again for 2024. We'll be a great team here as always. Only the best we'll do here at Von Radio, and that is why I come. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. May God continue to bless us all. Thank you and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
With all the power from the tower, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, VON Radio, from the Federation of St. Kitts